We always have to keep an open mind on this, Mark, as always. But if you talk to the real card-carrying molecular virologists and molecular viral phylogeneticists, they feel that the evidence and the circumstances weigh very, very strongly that this is a natural occurrence in the sense of jumping from an animal species, a bat, maybe to an intermediate host, to a human.
As Dr. Fauci late this afternoon answering a question from Dr. Mark Siegel on his SiriusXM radio, Dr. Radio reports about the reporting of the early days of the COVID origin, sticking to that he believes that most virologists believe what he came out with. But as we showed you at the beginning of that, there were many who were saying something different. Let's bring in our panel. We'll start there. Morgan Ortagus, former State Department spokesperson, syndicated radio host Hugh Hewitt, and Amy Walter, publisher and editor-in-chief of the Cook Political Report. Morgan, you were in government at the time. Secretary Pompeo was very forward-leaning when it came to this and the investigation of it. A lot of people ask, why is this important now? Because, well, we're going to fight this pandemic, but there could be others down the road. We have to get to the origins of where this thing started.
Absolutely. And we should have been, all of us should have been critical and skeptical, I should say, of the Chinese Communist Party. You're talking about an organization that has denied and covered up the Tiananmen Square massacre. You're talking about a Communist Party that is currently overseeing a genocide in Xinjiang and trying to cover that up as well. So I don't put it past them to take any of these actions. And in fact, they've covered up COVID for almost 2.5 years. We still don't have the live virus samples. There is still no independent scientists or doctors or even a real team from the WHO that can go in and find out what the origins of COVID are. And the Chinese Communist Party wants to make sure that it'll never happen. And I can tell you from the first days when we learned about COVID, President Trump and Mike Pompeo were incredibly skeptical. We started sounding the alarm very early on at the State Department that we thought the Chinese were hiding something. 2.5 years later, they still are, and they faced no consequences.
All right, listen, we're going to stay on this story. The big thing about going forward is trying to fight this. And Morgan, there's this battle over monoclonal antibodies, whether they should be approved. The Florida governor saying it's being shut down. The next step is really important.
Paul Mango, who is the chief of staff to Azar, has a brilliant op-ed about this. We should be able to fight COVID, not just with vaccines, they're important, but also with therapeutics and with anything that American ingenuity can come up with. And why this administration has been a one-trick pony just on the vaccines and not stressed the therapeutics, which can also equally save lives, is beyond me.
Okay, we'll continue a little shorter with all that big reporting tonight. We'll return with the panel and talk foreign policy after a quick break.
There is not going to be any American forces moving into Ukraine.
There's no one asking for American troops in Ukraine. I haven't heard anybody make that demand. What they're asking for is the United States to live up to its commitments.
We're not ruling off the table any unilateral U.S. troops also inside Europe or even going to Europe to help bolster our allies and reassure them. We're making it very clear to Mr. Putin that there will be severe consequences if he moves in on another time to attack Ukraine.
Again, the big international news, Russian troops poised on that Ukrainian border. What will happen? We're back with our panel.
Whether or not people see that he has control of this issue is going to be very important for him going forward and gaining the trust of the American public.
You know, Morgan, Senator Mitch McConnell came out and actually praised President Biden and his team for how they're handling this situation early on. Obviously, we don't know what we don't know, but your thoughts?
I didn't see that, but I wouldn't agree with the senator if he said that. Listen, I think we're at this moment today. We didn't have to be. We're at this moment today because for the past year, we have sort of chased Putin around the world as it relates to diplomacy, tried to get him to talk, and we've made concession after concession to either appease the Germans or to appease the Russians to stop them from escalating. And what you saw a senior administration official today saying in a briefing is, you know, that they're at the end of the escalation ladder, and the United States is taking this seriously, and we're going to be tough. You know, Brett, and the people that you showed in the clip, it sounds like me talking to my toddler. If you do that one more time, Russia, if you do that one more time. Well, my toddler doesn't believe me when I say that, and I don't think the Russians believe Biden.
Never predict all these things. Panel, as always, thank you.